Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sedona Psychics. We are getting to the end of our Meet the Reader segment. So today I have with me Miss Annai. Say hi to everybody, Annai.
Hello.
Annai has been, how long have you been with us? A little over three, I was going to say about almost 4 years.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anai is very well versed in astrology. She also does tarot and also does energy clearings and Reiki as well. So, Anai, coming into this conversation today, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Awesome, awesome. We're going to kind of go over like your spiritual journey and things like that, kind of how you ended up where you are today. So, can you share a little bit about your spiritual journey? How did the path first begin for you?
Interesting question because when you think about it, really it began in childhood. And so I would sense and feel things that maybe other people, I got kind of got the word that it wasn't about that everybody didn't, but I could feel and sense things.
Hmm.
And from an early age, and also I used to think about things like about life. What am I doing here? What's the purpose?
Right.
So this was ingrained, and my father being a wonderful artist and professor, he was very open. So any of the dreams that I had, for instance, I would tell my mother or father, and they'd be very open to it. Tell me more. So it really opened up a pathway, and then I started studying Esther Casey when I was a teenager, and some of the great spiritual masters along the way. And astrology, I started studying when I was, gosh, probably seriously, probably when I was about 23. And when I started having children and I was doing your charts, and then I studied it for many, many years before we moved to Sedona. And when I started my professional practice.
Nice, nice. I love that. So you've
Yeah,
you've been on this journey since childhood, pretty much, and
I would say so.
trusted the path to take you to where you are today.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's a good word to use because it really is.
Mhm.
And surrender,
Yes, I
And once I
agree.
surrendered, then things opened up and my path, whatever that is,
Yeah.
became clearer.
I love that. Was there a moment when you realized this was more than just like an interest you had or a gift in general, that it was more of like a calling for you?
I would say when I first moved to Sedona, it was, gosh, about 35 years ago. Yeah, I felt it almost just coming here. I had no idea really where it was. What was Sedona, some big town? 'Cause my husband was transferred here. I
Right.
thought, Arizona, Sedona. But then things started happening. People that I didn't even know would start saying, "Hey, I dreamt about you, and you moved to this beautiful ethereal place." And then I started, what is this Sedona? So really, I have to say, when we moved here, I started just picking up things from people. People would stop me in the grocery store, and I noticed these new abilities getting put there.
Oh, okay.
Things just with people telling me their life story, and I said, "Well, what's this all about?" People are coming up to me, the strangers or people that I just met. So from that, it really expanded and trusting in my abilities more. And then I
Mhm.
started doing astrology charts and studying with these amazing teachers and also spiritual masters that really grounded me in that.
Which kind of comes to my next question for you. Who or what were some of your biggest teachers or influences along the way?
Oh gosh, yes. So I would say first would be Edgar Casey and
Okay.
his many books, Book of Many Mansions, The Sleeping Prophet. So yes, that started when I was about 18, and commitment with all of this reading and spiritual knowledge was certain dreams I had, prophetic things
Okay.
that I've had my whole life
Hmm.
too, things that would happen in the future that would come true. So Edgar Casey was a major influence, and then Paramahansa Yogananda, like a spiritual master from
Hmm.
India, and through that it grew to some of these master astrologers like Noel Till. He's written many, many books and was a profound influence on my understanding of the real meaning of astrology, which is about not taking like a cookbook, like this means this and this means that.
Right.
But he was all about the art of synthesis, of the
Okay.
whole person. Instead of like you walked into a room and I looked at you and I said, "Wow, what a nice bright on." And you see
Yeah.
what really was. And not only that, but Basil Farrington, Stephen Forrest, some evolutionary astrologers, Dimitri George, and now currently there's many Vedic astrologers too, although I
Yeah.
stick
Hmm.
here with the Western. uh,
Right. Awesome. Awesome. What has surprised you the most about doing this work professionally?
You know, what surprised me is that For instance, like before I started here, so my astrology readings, just take that for instance, not Reiki or energy things. So it would take me a long time to look at a person's chart. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just pour my heart and soul into every chart. I come here, oh, you have to know it all within a few minutes, which is fantastic. It has
Mhm.
honed my skills so that I realize we can condense things
Yes.
here. And because of the amount of clients we get here, because of the great reputation, people come here knowing that they're going to get the real gem.
Yes.
And it's based with integrity. And all of us here have honed our skills tremendously just by
Yes.
the sheer practice of
Oh,
it.
yeah, definitely.
It's amazing. So,
Yes.
yeah, that I'm very grateful.
So being able to kind of hone in on your skills and make things a little bit more simplified.
Simplified,
Yeah.
clearer, and also just as a reader, having more confidence because
Yes.
every
Mhm.
person is so different, and that's what the exciting thing is. So whenever it starts to become this again, no, it's not like that because
Yeah.
every moment is like fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Love it.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one I like to ask all the readers here. If you could go back and talk to your younger self at the beginning of this journey, what would you say?
I would say to trust, or just trust in the path, which is probably one of the most difficult things to do because in this 3D world we live in, we're so used to this ego serving the ego,
Yes.
ego asserting itself. But in the spiritual realms, there is no time and space. There's only divine love,
Yes.
and there's no judgment on you. So I would have been a lot easier on myself, and I would have had more confidence in my life journey. But sometimes it takes like difficult situations to really come to that understanding.
Yeah,
So,
really. Really, yeah.
but I think, getting older is very much, you can only go two ways. People that grow older either kind of come to a place of resentment, bitterness, things like that, or we can accrue wisdom by a lived experience.
Right. I love that. So you are not the old man yelling at all the little kids, get off my lawn.
Daniel, when I was like 2 years old on the East Coast, we were literally used to argue and fight on his lawn, and he would come out every time, every other day.
That's funny.
So that was a lesson.
Yeah. So now we're going to kind of dive into like your specialties, your style of reading, and the modalities that you use. So right now in your spiritual career, what modalities do you specialize in right now?
So the modalities that I use are astrological charts, but using the specialties within astrology, I practice is evolutionary astrology and vocational analysis. So evolutionary astrology is really about what's your soul contract, what's your soul purpose, and you're doing here. And I do this by looking at it's called the South Node of the Moon, which is the past. So there is this South Node, which is a past, North Node is the future, or your soul purpose or soul compass. And I use this to delineate their astrological aspects. So, it's a whole study in and of itself. And I feel like I've studied with some master astrologers that have really honed my skill that way.
Okay.
So it's amazing, because, you can look at if people don't believe in past lives, they don't have to. Kind of like what your soul is embedded with when you're born, what you're predisposed to.
Okay.
And then working from that, we work toward your soul purpose, which most of us are resistant to.
Yes.
You're like, I'm so used to doing it one way for hundreds of years or whatever it is. And then here's a new way. It's like a medicine. I call it
Yeah.
sacred medicine.
So I'm sure you get though too, like people come, I need to know my soul purpose. And then you tell them and they're like, I wasn't expecting that. That's not what I wanted to hear pretty much.
You know what? I would have to say the majority of them are thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they really are.
That's good.
And also, like, just for instance, a woman who came in a number of months ago, and her South Node, I think, is in Pisces. So as I was telling her this, she says, "Well, everybody just complains. They think I'm a dreamer." And I said, "You're meant to be a dreamer. See,
Yeah.
see how we resist it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that's like really different from what's unfamiliar, unusual. It's unnatural almost. That's what our North Node is. We struggle with it.
Okay. So for instance, I believe my North Node is an Aquarius.
Yes.
So what would that represent?
For you, well, for anybody, but it depends on which house it is in. But for you, if I recall, your North Node being in Aquarius in the seventh house. Your partnership, your long-term marriage contracts, which is the seventh house. The North Node is there. So you're also meant to be with somebody for a long period of time, a commitment, but in an innovative way.
Yes.
In a very innovative, nothing like this old, husband.
Yeah. Nothing like my ex-husband.
No, and that's your south node. Now you're with your wonderful husband. This is your purpose. And I can continue that because if your North Node is in Aquarius in your seventh house, I look at the ruler of that, which is Uranus, and your ruler of that Uranus is in your fifth house, which is what we're doing today. Podcast, creative things, the affairs of children, which you might come into creativity, but innovation. Yes, and especially high tech. Yes.
See, guys, I'm doing my purpose.
You are. And it's going to continue and expand because you're so young. You come into your purpose.
Yes, definitely. How would you describe your reading style in your own words? And this can be with either the astrology, the tarot, or however that looks to you.
Well, it's my reading style. It's hard to pinpoint to call myself what my style is. I would have to ask somebody else their opinion. I think mine is basically I'm of service here. So it's like I'm in tune with somebody's inner needs. Yes, what they need. So what I need. It's not about my style. I just try to get myself out of the way. Yeah, this isn't about me. And I even say, help me to think less and less of myself and more of the person. Right. I like that. And then it's kind of like the style just kind of flows from that. Sometimes I'm, different than another one. Sometimes I get very automated. It depends on the reading. Yeah. It's so different. Yeah. All of that.
Is there a type of client or question you feel especially called to help with?
Yes. And I think it is more of the deeper spiritual aspects of a person's life. If they're kind of not stuck, but it's to kind of geared toward stress about money, finances, and this is affecting the children and whatnot. I tried to get them to look at the deeper issues here. We want your children to remember their childhood is being stressed out because I cancer is worried about money. Right. Overwhelmed. So I like to bring it into the practical realm, but also on the deeper spiritual realm. Don't stress out about it because it's only a small part of your life that's going to pass.
And I also feel with astrology, this kind of gives a lot of people like a bigger picture of their lifetime on the planet,
Yes.
And I also I love with astrology too because this kind of backs up the things that we say of you chose this before you came in. So here's the blueprint to that, right? So, guys, like if you really want to get some in-depth information about yourself, like astrology is a really good tool to do that. And also with how Annai does things well, she brings a lot of her intuitive hits in on that as well. So it's not just what she's seeing in the chart. This is also what she's picking up energetically for you as well, which is kind of like confirming for both ends.
So true. I called a woman a few weeks ago before I even started the reading, and she had given me her information. I looked at it real quick, and I said, "Oh yeah, you might meet somebody in the medical profession, in the health profession." So I just said it because I was feeling it. Right. And at the end, she told me that very sentence she said before the reading is what I want.
So you got to it before she even asked.
Exactly. Before I even asked.
So what kind of energy do you hope people feel when they leave a session with you?
I think that's a good question. Energy is very much I always want to make people happy. And sometimes there's tears through that first before people arrive at that. And sometimes there's a shedding of tears or a release of emotions. And of course, that comes through my energy clearance. And sometimes it comes later. With energy clearance, you're dealing with different levels of different spiritual realms and different. This is really important for people to just go from what really makes you happy. And then let you touch upon that.
Absolutely. So now we're going to kind of go into what clients can expect when they're in a session with you and a couple of other different questions with this. So for someone who's never had a reading before, what can they expect when they sit down with you? How are you going to make them feel comfort.
Good question. And that happens a lot.
Yes, it does.
A lot of people.
And it's going to happen a lot more too.
Yes, because people are awakening.
Yeah.
People are, experiencing this time that is going so fast. And
Mhm.
people are realizing that there's a lot more here. They know that they're here for a good
Mhm.
reason, a profound reason.
So for someone who's never had a reading
Oh, yeah.
before,
Yeah.
what can they kind of expect?
Okay, yeah. So this happens a lot with people. Never had a reading, and they'll usually say it. I've never
Mhm.
done this before. I said, well, good, because then it's going to be a new, fresh experience for you based on how it is today. And very often I just alleviate that. I say a prayer 1st and it kind of sets a tone. This is a safe place to be. It's very confidential. So it really becomes a sacred space. People, even though there might be, you can hear music and you can hear, laughter or whatever, but it's a very sacred, private place where
Yes.
people can open up. And that's when people are in trust. If that's when they feel, and I get so many people think here, I didn't expect this.
Right.
It's kind of like, uh, getting back to, people get afraid. They can be in fear a lot of times. They see something that I'm not supposed to, there is that.
Are you going to tell me I'm going to die?
Yes, yes. I have had people, the first question was, when am I going to die?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think all of us can agree we're not fortune tellers and you don't
Right.
predict death. I personally don't predict divorce like that. But, everybody's different. But the main thing is to feel that it's a sacred moment in time for them to really.
And this is another one I love to ask.
Mhm.
What role do you believe the client plays in their own healing or insight?
And one of the most common occurrences is for people not to face, accept, and acknowledge their own weaknesses. And that's the key to change. You can't, I think Dr. Bill said this, you don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
So it's important, like when you go to the doctor, what if you just started like messing around with a certain area in your body? No, he has to identify it. You talk to him, have to converse. So it's very important to identify and to really see what that is. What was that leading me to? I was going to say something about that. What was the end of the question?
What role do you believe the client plays
Yeah.
in their own healing or insight?
Yes. So once they understand, they can change the way they are. Like if the person says, maybe they come in, they don't understand this whole thing.
Right.
It is their first time. And they even say, I don't understand. Well, basically when they don't, they're not really looking to your heart. They're not really listening to themselves. And sometimes people just get hung up on that. But I do think that most of the people are, when you point out, hey, you have a lot to do with this based on your free will. So when they have that knowledge that they can change, that they can acknowledge a different light, they can tweak their mind, their spirit.
So see, guys, it's all on you. Yes, we give you the tools. We can tap into the energies, but at the end of the day, it's you who has to do the work. You are the one who have to put the action into it. 100%. To someone who feels nervous or unsure about booking their first reading.
Well, what are your concerns? Why are you nervous? And sometimes, very often, they've had some bad experiences,
Right.
with other psychics,
Right.
or astrologers, or anybody in the healing arts, including energy clearing, Reiki. There's been people that, let's just face it, anytime you're dealing with any kind of spiritual thing or things out of this realm, you're going to deal with some unscrupulous characters.
Yes.
Because somebody is this or that doesn't mean that they're always on the up and up.
Right.
So yeah, I would just caution against that. That this is a different experience, and I'm sorry that you have to go through that. But sometimes you have to know what's lost,
Right.
to know it's true. So it's all good. There's no judgment, no past mistakes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So now we're going to kind of go into some like wisdom and advice for our listeners. What advice would you give somebody who is going through a confusing or uncertain time in their life?
Yeah, I would say to ride that wave, and that it is a passing phase, it's temporary. When you think back on all the difficult times in our lives, it seems like this would be forever and we can't see our way out of it. But this is where wisdom comes in.
Yes.
To know And I remember as a child thinking this, whether it was my mother, this and that, yelling or whatever. And I would say to myself, I don't know where I got this. This too shall pass.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So at a young age, I realized, yes, this is a temporary show. And where did I get this wisdom from? We don't know. It's kind of the mystery of it all. But to trust in that, to really have that uh, knowledge that this is all a passing show. This life here is, I love a bumper sticker. I wish I could put it in my car. It says, uh, life is a school, love is a lesson.
Yeah. And I'm really noticing that a lot with a lot of these interviews I've been doing with all the readers here. It all comes down to love. That's what we go to when we leave our physical bodies. That's what ends up making moves and changes within the world. That hate, love. So I love that.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. Agree.
So, what is something you wish more people understood about psychic and intuitive work?
Yeah, I think that what I would like people to understand is that we are working together as a team. In this, it's not somebody doing something to you, but it's with you, it's supporting you in your journey.
Yes.
And so I'd like people to know that it's like we're co-creators in their own experience.
Yes.
And I think the hardest thing too is to, if someone has their hopes up for a relationship, maybe we're not seeing it the way they would like, or maybe it's just through experience that is that, or maybe another person is coming along. It's a fine line sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I like to just pause there and feel them out, see how they are with it. But sometimes it's just important. Honesty is really the key.
Yeah.
And when you're honest, then these vulnerabilities come out and we can be more truthful with ourselves.
And I also feel it kind of opens up the energy more
Absolutely.
for us to tap in
That's
as
key.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the key. And and knowing when we need to kind of move this into a different trajectory. And that's being very sensitive to a person's ways of being very kind of accustomed to. So when they come into a psychic or, any of the healing modalities here, to be more safer, because this is really top notch.
Yes.
There.
Yes, yes. What message do you feel the collective really needs to hear right now?
The message is get ready. Hold on to whatever works for you in terms of whatever you call spirit, God, the essence of all. Just hang on to that knowledge. In other words, people need to plug into that power source, the divine. If you do that every day, if you plug in, then no matter what happens, you're not like in control of your life. You're allowing it to blossom, or some things need to die out, and we're not fighting against it or resisting it. That's the key.
Let go of control, people.
Yes. Let go. We don't have control over this.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing because what does that mean? Divine will? Well, when people talk about free will, very often I think, well, that's just free want. It's just like this, I want that. Or in actuality, the spiritual life is about
yes. I like that. So now we're going to kind of get into some like fun and personal questions too. What's one thing most people don't know about you?
Oh, one thing. Just one?
Just one. We're keeping it simple right now.
Everything. It's a good question. I don't really know if they don't know because, I've been friends with people for many years, and I tend to be a listener rather than a talker when it comes to my personal friendships. And so after I would be with them for, 7 years, and all of a sudden she says, "Oh, I didn't know that about your mom," or "I didn't know you got that degree in college." And I said, "Yeah, because you're always talking about it." So I think there's a lot of things people don't know about me. I am pretty low key. I'm pretty under the radar type of person. Yeah. So there's a lot of things I don't talk to people about. So yeah. Okay. No, that's good. You could tell me more. That's good.
Do you have a favorite crystal, tool, or ritual that you like to do right now?
Yeah, right now, it's changing actually. And through this one beautiful place we work with, surrounded by amazing crystals. And so in one of the rooms, there's this selenite wand. So I've been using wands for.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it's changing much more to, and there's also this crystal called, it's very much like selenite, but it's more from the angelic realms. I think it's called Dedarite or Dedarite.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
So I've been using that more, working more, I have to say, with angelic.
Okay,
It's sort of
interesting.
new, it's not new, but it's like I'm on sort of this adventure. Adventure with the angels.
There you go.
That's what it is. Like astral traveling at night and, just enjoying that, uh, those possibilities.
Yes, yes. If your spiritual work had a theme song, what would it be?
I just might.
Okay,
It's a new song by Bruno Mars.
okay.
And it's funny because I've been listening to that song. When you asked me, well, what are you into now? So he sang at the Grammys. Bruno Mars is, to me, I like it because it's thematic for me in the sense that it's upbeat. And his rhythm, his musicality is off the charts, where he does everything, and it's like retro at the same time. So I like to think of myself as kind of being old school, but also upbeat and in tune with the person,
Oh, I like that.
being in tune with life, with rhythm, with aesthetics, with the beauty of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I just, and it's interesting you should ask that question because I'm going to learn the dance steps to it too.
Well, there we go. Now Annai is going to start dancing, guys. So there's
Yes.
one thing you did
You
not
never
know
know.
about her.
That's true. That's the one thing people don't know. I love to dance
There we go. There we
by
go.
myself.
So as we're closing up our little segment with you and I, what intention would you like to leave our listeners with today?
Like that. The intention is always about my clients. And I usually say this to them too. See that they're a good person, so that they don't have to worry about, because their intentions are good, they don't have to worry about the outcome because the motivation, the intention is pure. I think that's my main thing, is my intentions are always about being at service. That's
Okay.
where my lifeblood is.
I love that. Love it, love it. Always being of service. Well, thank you so much, Annai, for sharing your journey and your wisdom with
Thank
us
you.
today. It is such a gift to have you here as part of the Crystal Magic Psychic Center family. For those who are listening, you guys can book with Annai on the Crystal Magic Psychic Center website. It has her bio, all of her information, all the modalities that she offers as well. So, guys, until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and trust your path. Yay!